This video will shake your understanding of what's ahead. The impending port strike on the East Coast is more than just an inconvenience. It's poised to unravel the very fabric of our economy. As we delve into this unfolding crisis, I'll expose 8 crucial grocery items that could transform into unthinkable treasures come October. Let's get to the heart of the matter. This strike isn't limited to just a handful of ports. It's impacting a staggering 13 major locations from Maine to Texas, representing nearly half of all ports across the nation. The stakes couldn't be higher. So, what does this mean for the rest of us, particularly those of us preparing for a potentially grim future? Major shortages are imminent. Essentials that we rely on could vanish without warning. This isn't merely about holiday shopping delays. We're talking about food, raw materials, and vital supplies disappearing before our very eyes. Think back to the chaos of the 2008 West Coast port strike, where 13,000 jobs were lost and prices soared to dizzying heights. Now, with a new wave of strikes looming, the trucking industry faces an uncertain future. Less cargo means fewer trucks on the road, which could leave thousands of truckers jobless. By the time you finish watching this video, the strike could already be underway. The clock is ticking, and it's imperative to act now. Prepare yourself. Stock up on these 8 essential items before it's too late, because the impact of this strike will echo far and wide. Your readiness could be the key to weathering this storm. Stay alert, stay prepared, and above all, stay informed. The fallout from this impending strike could redefine how we live and shop for the foreseeable future. Number 8. Cooking oil. If you thought supply chain disruptions were severe during the pandemic, brace yourself for what's about to happen with cooking oils. Currently, a standard bottle of olive or vegetable oil may set you back around $178, but in the near future, these prices could skyrocket to $30, $40, or even $50 per bottle. This isn't mere speculation. It's a reality based on patterns observed during previous supply chain crises. In 2021 and 2022, the global price of cooking oil surged by an astounding 65% within just a few months. For example, the price of canola oil in the US escalated from approximately $2.50 to nearly $7 by mid-2022. Now, imagine a similar increase happening on an even larger scale. The East Coast ports serve as vital entry points for essential ingredients like olive oil, palm oil, and sunflower oil, handling about 35% of all U.S. imports of edible oils. If these ports experience disruptions, the consequences will ripple throughout the food industry. In 2023 alone, the U.S. imported $5.7 billion worth of cooking oils from countries like Spain, Italy, Malaysia, and Argentina. Without these imports, our domestic supply will dwindle to almost nothing within weeks. The repercussions won't merely be price increases. Empty shelves will become a common sight. During the peak of the pandemic, people struggled to find basic items. Now imagine that scenario intensified. Cooking oil is a fundamental ingredient in a myriad of food products, extending far beyond frying. It's integral to salad dressings, sauces, baked goods, and prepackaged foods. If the supply chain falters, manufacturers will be left scrambling for whatever stock remains, driving prices to new heights and passing those increased costs onto consumers. Number 7. Poultry and meat. If you thought meat prices were high last year, prepare for unprecedented sticker shock. A pack of chicken breasts that you currently buy for around $6 could see its price soar to $30, $35, or even $50. It's not just chicken. Beef, pork, and other meats will follow this alarming trend. The statistics paint a grim picture. Disruptions in supply chains and rising feed costs due to external factors have previously resulted in poultry prices increasing by an astonishing 177% in 2022. The East Coast ports play a critical role in importing a significant portion of the feed grains and raw materials necessary for our poultry and livestock industries. Essential feed items like corn and soybean meal come through these ports. When they shut down or become backlogged, farmers struggle to access the feed needed to sustain their operations. Previous disruptions have shown that feed prices can jump by 30% to 40% in just a few months. If this strike occurs, we might witness a staggering 50% to 70% reduction in the availability of feed within weeks. Farmers will face difficult choices. Do they pay exorbitant prices for feed, or do they begin culling their flocks and herds? Unfortunately, many will opt to reduce their stock due to skyrocketing feed prices, leading to a significant decrease in meat production. Consider the USDA's report during the bird flu outbreak in 2022, which saw over 58 million birds culled to prevent the spread of the disease, resulting in a nearly 50% increase in egg and poultry prices. Now imagine a similar crisis, not due to disease, but because of a self-inflicted shortage of feed. The number of livestock being slaughtered could double or even triple. Number 6. Alcohol and beverages. Think paying $12 for a bottle of wine is steep? Prepare for that price to soar to $50, $100, or even more. This isn't merely a hypothetical situation. It's a stark reality we'll face if a strike occurs. Wine isn't the only beverage affected. Beer, spirits, and even non-alcoholic drinks like sparkling water will experience dramatic price hikes. The East Coast ports are vital for importing raw materials and finished products for many popular beverage brands. Any disruption will severely impact the industry. In 2022, global beverage prices increased by 15% due to supply chain issues, raw material cost spikes, and shipping delays. Imported wines and spirits saw a price increase of around 30%, while domestic beer prices rose by 10 to 15%. However, those were minor disruptions compared to what we might be facing now. This time, we could experience a complete bottleneck in imports, making it nearly impossible to find alcohol products on store shelves. In 2023, the U.S. imported over $24 billion worth of alcoholic beverages, with nearly 60% of these imports, ranging from French wines and Scotch whiskeys to craft beers, coming through East Coast ports. If these ports shut down, not only will prices skyrocket, but entire categories of alcohol could vanish from the shelves altogether. Your favorite imported wine might not just cost more, it could become entirely unavailable. Domestic production relies heavily on imported ingredients, such as barley and hops, essential for brewing and distilling. Without these ingredients, local production could halt, forcing breweries and distilleries to cut back or use lower quality substitutes. This shift would lead to diminished supply and inferior products at higher prices. Beer, the most consumed alcoholic beverage in the U.S., is particularly vulnerable. In 2020, the cost of a 24-pack of domestic beer rose from an average of $15 to nearly $25 within months due to supply disruptions. If a port strike paralyzes the supply chain, those same cases might climb to $50, $60, or even $75, transforming beer from a daily beverage into a rare luxury. Number 5. Fresh fruits. If you enjoy fresh fruits like apples, bananas, oranges, or berries, brace yourself for a significant financial burden in the upcoming months. The reality is that fresh produce prices are poised to skyrocket, and what you currently pay, $1, $2, or even $3 a pound, will soon feel like a bargain. Expect prices to surge to $8, $10, or even $15 per pound. Yes, you heard that right. A single apple could cost you $5, while a small basket of berries might set you back $25 or more. The reason behind this looming price hike lies in the reliance on East Coast ports, which handle over 65% of all imported fresh produce. We're talking about billions of dollars worth of fruits and vegetables that make their way to our grocery stores every week. If the supply chain experiences an interruption, the availability of fresh fruits will plummet more rapidly than you can say empty shelves. In fact, the United States imports over 9.3 million metric tons of fresh fruits each year, with East Coast ports processing 5.7 million metric tons of those imports, accounting for 62% of our total fruit supply. When these shipments cease, there will be no quick fix. Domestic production cannot compensate for such a significant shortfall. Our infrastructure simply isn't designed to reroute that volume of produce to other ports without incurring further logistical chaos. But it's not just about the direct costs of the fruits themselves. When imports dry up, it will also affect other critical components of the supply chain, such as refrigeration and storage. A limited supply will force distributors to pay outrageous premiums to transport and store the little produce that remains, adding even more to the final cost you see at the register. In a matter of weeks, the produce section of your grocery store may resemble a disaster zone, with empty shelves, wilted stock, and absurd prices. For instance, a $4 bag of oranges could soar to $25, and those $3 containers of strawberries may be a rare find at $20. Bananas, which many Americans rely on as a cheap and healthy snack, could jump from 60 cents per pound to an astonishing $15. This represents a staggering tenfold increase. You might think this is impossible, but just look at the last port slowdown in 2015, when avocado prices tripled and the average price of citrus fruits doubled within just a few weeks. That disruption was minor compared to what we could face now. This strike may last for months, and without East Coast imports, the impact will be far more severe. Number 4. Chocolate. Get ready for a serious blow to your wallet, especially if you have a sweet tooth. That $2 chocolate bar could soon be priced at $12, $15, or even $20 overnight. However, the real crisis extends beyond mere price hikes. It encompasses the very real threat of chocolate scarcity. Cocoa is one of the most import-dependent crops we consume, and East Coast ports handle a significant portion of those imports. Many people don't realize just how delicate the supply chain for cocoa is. The cacao beans used to make chocolate are primarily harvested in West Africa, where they have a very narrow window for processing and transportation. Any delay, such as that caused by a port strike, means shipments could sit idle and spoil. If these ports shut down, we could see an 80% reduction in chocolate products reaching the US in the next few months. This crisis won't just affect your favorite candy bars. The entire chocolate industry, from small artisan chocolatiers to major brands, will scramble to secure whatever supply remains. This competition will drive prices not only to double or triple, but potentially to spike by 500% or more. Companies will bid against one another for the limited inventory available, and you will ultimately bear the cost. There's also a darker side to this shortage. If cocoa demand outstrips supply, manufacturers may cut corners, resulting in lower quality products with less cocoa content and more fillers. Even if you're willing to pay a premium, what you purchase might not even be genuine chocolate. Imagine paying $20 for a product that doesn't even resemble the chocolate you once enjoyed. Number 3. Coffee. Your morning cup of coffee is about to become a luxury item. And I'm not talking about a slight increase in price. Right now, you might spend $12 per pound for your favorite coffee, but soon, that same bag could cost $50, $75, or even more. This isn't an exaggeration, it's a wake-up call. East Coast ports play a crucial role in bringing in a substantial portion of the coffee beans consumed in the United States. These beans are sourced from countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam. Any disruption in imports will lead to massive backlogs and delays. When coffee beans sit in warehouses or on ships, even a few days can result in spoilage, meaning that once they spoil, they are rendered worthless. This translates to money lost for importers and a smaller supply for consumers. In the US, we consume 400 million cups of coffee every day, making us the largest coffee market in the world. This impending strike could disrupt up to 60 to 70% of our coffee imports. It's not just about rising prices, it's about availability. Premium blends will be the first to disappear. That $10 bag of coffee you typically grab might not even be available anymore, and what's left will come with a steep price tag. As coffee becomes scarce, coffee shops, ranging from local cafes to major chains like Starbucks, will likely cut menu offerings or raise prices to unprecedented levels. Prepare to pay $10, $12, or even $15 for a cup of coffee at your favorite shop, and it won't be the same high-quality brew you're accustomed to. Lower quality beans, stale beans, or blends with cheap substitutes may become the norm. This issue extends beyond flavor. It encompasses access to coffee itself. Signs of this crisis are already emerging in the coffee futures market, where prices are beginning to rise in anticipation of the strike. Importers and wholesalers are bracing for the worst-case scenario, and you should do the same. If that weren't enough, keep in mind that coffee plants are highly sensitive. Recent climate changes have already led to lower yields and diminished bean quality worldwide. Adding a supply chain disaster like this port strike could spell disaster for the coffee industry. Smaller suppliers will likely be the first to go under, leaving only the largest corporations to monopolize the remaining supply, which would drive prices even higher. Imagine standing in the coffee aisle only to find a few remaining brands and roasts priced at 3 to 5 times what you're used to. If you don't stock up now, you could be forced to pay $50 to $100 per pound for coffee, with no assurance that the market will ever stabilize again. Number 2, canned goods. Canned goods may seem like a simple addition to your pantry, just a few extra cans of beans or soup, but the implications of current trends in food supply are far more significant than a mere price increase. We're on the brink of a major shift in how we perceive and access these items, potentially elevating canned goods to the status of luxury items. Let's explore why this situation is so urgent. Recent projections suggest that the prices for canned goods could skyrocket from around $1.50 to $10 per can, a staggering quadrupling in cost. This is not merely a theoretical concern. It stems from serious disruptions in the supply chain, particularly regarding the raw materials needed for can production. A significant portion of the tin plate steel required for canning is imported through East Coast ports, which are currently facing numerous challenges. If these ports cannot operate efficiently, manufacturers will struggle to produce cans, leading to reduced product availability on grocery store shelves. Even if we were to source tin locally, the time frame for ramping up production would be extensive, and the costs associated with this transition would be prohibitively high. Consequently, we may not only experience inflated prices, but also a significant shortage of canned goods altogether. In a food crisis, canned items are not just commodities, they are essential survival tools. They boast an impressive shelf life, require minimal preparation, and are packed with vital nutrients. In times of emergency, they become invaluable assets for sustenance. If you find yourself unprepared, you could face paying exorbitant prices when panic buying occurs. That can of soup you buy for $1.50 today could soon be viewed as liquid gold. Furthermore, as shortages spread, retailers may begin to impose purchase limits, such as 2 cans per customer. Envision walking down aisles where shelves are bare and signs reading "out of stock" are prevalent. Imagine desperate consumers willing to spend any amount just to secure a few cans of beans or vegetables. This is the dire reality we may be approaching. Number 1. Flour and grains. Attention, fellow Americans. There's a significant red flag waving over our food supply chain, and it's imperative to grasp the severity of this situation. The average American consumes approximately 134 pounds of flour each year, with a staggering 80% of that flour production reliant on raw grains imported through East Coast ports. We are potentially heading toward a catastrophe. To break this down, the United States imports about 13.2 million metric tons of wheat and other grains annually, and nearly half of these shipments pass through East Coast ports. If a strike occurs, the repercussions could be devastating, effectively choking off a large portion of our grain supplies. This would translate into less grain available for processing, reduced flour production, and ultimately bare grocery store shelves. Consider the implications for your wallet. A 5-pound bag of flour, currently priced at $3.99, could soar to $20, $30, or even $50 as scarcity sets in. The ramifications extend beyond just flour. These grains serve as the foundational ingredients for a multitude of products. Bread, pasta, cereal, and even snacks that your children love will be impacted. Additionally, we must consider the effects on animal feed. Approximately 65% of all grain imports are directed toward feed production. Without sufficient grain, feed prices will skyrocket, creating a ripple effect throughout the food industry. Poultry, beef, and pork prices will inevitably increase due to a lack of available feed. The data from past crises supports this concern. During the supply chain crisis of 2008, flour prices surged by 90% within months. That occurred during a period without significant port closures. Now, with 13 of our busiest ports potentially facing operational halts, we could witness flour and grain prices spike by as much as 400 to 500% in just a matter of weeks. That might sound extreme, but even a minor disruption in wheat supply last year resulted in a 25% price increase. Now picture that disruption magnified 10, 20, or even 30 times. If you don't take action now, you may find yourself paying upwards of $100 for what was once a $3.99 bag of flour. The urgency to stock up on essential items is critical. Once the crisis begins, reversing the damage will be nearly impossible. That is all for today, guys. Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content.